You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers today, but we got Omar, the firefighter. What's going on?
What's going on? It's Omar, firefighter. How you doing? Just calling back to answer your question if which Predator movie was the better of the two so-called not as good ones. That would be Predator 2, sir, for the reasons you said. I like the fact also, you know, not only the actors, those 90s actors, 80s, 90s actors, who's too old for this, you know, work, for it was Lethal Weapon. I like the fact that Predator was in the city, so that was cool because we saw him in the jungle. So it was nice to see him in the city, and it was funny because he was like taking out all the crime people. He's taking out everybody. Anybody who looked like who was supposed to be like real bad, real badass, he was basically taking them out, which I thought was hilarious. And it actually showed the semi-compassion that he has because the lady was pregnant. He didn't kill her because he's like, "You pregnant? Yep. I'm gonna let you live. You're not a threat." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because the whole concept kind of behind this that I had sort of forgotten about, I guess, but is that these guys are from another planet and come here essentially for like sport to hunt. So, you know, they're coming back. They're trying to find like the baddest guys or whatever, the greatest warriors, and they want to try to fight them. Well, you come across somebody that's unarmed and pregnant. You know, they're not just mass murderers or whatever. You know what I mean? So, yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
And that was pretty cool as far as that. Also agree with you a lot on your picks, is that you don't want. I was 100% on those same people. But I agree. I wish there were more slam dunks in this draft at wide receiver. That's really concerning me because it's just like it's like a woulda, coulda, shoulda, maybe, probably. When like versus last year, like one receiver that we were in the range of getting, we could have got. We had to trade up to do it, but it was what it was what's the dude? Oh, Brian Thomas Jr. Man, I saw his tape and I was like, yo, he can fall. If he falls to us, I hope we get him. And obviously, you know, Jags drafted him, so we couldn't get him. I was so pissed off. I was like, this man could be a number one. So now seeing him as the number one, you know, for the Jags, I'm like, ain't no receiver in the draft like as good as him. And he was like the fourth receiver taken. So we're like hoping and praying that everybody just overlook these top two and we can get a chance to get somebody, you know. So, but anyway, that was also good. I'm laughing at your Little Giants as one of your top favorite three football films. I laughed so hard I almost crashed the car. It was so funny that you had picked that. That was hilarious. But hey, no judgment. Enjoy. It was a good movie. I do love me some Rick Moran. Also forgot about this movie, but it was all in the steroids era. Was The Program. That was pretty good as well. So anyway, go Pack, go.
The Program. I don't know if I've seen The Program. What's The Program? I don't think so. I don't think I've seen that. Don't be laughing at Little Giants, dude. That's a classic. You got Al Bundy in there and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Hey, this is Vico. I'm a balcony smoking a stogie. Just made a bunch of food on my griddle.
Nice.
For the family. Listening to the After Dark. So let me clarify. The reason I called it the Wiener Podcast because I don't know if you remember, 2 or 3, 4 years ago, Bukowski did like a commercial for that, okay. You know?
Got it.
If you can't get it up, and I'm like, come on, I don't want to hear this crap.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I started calling it the Wiener Podcast. So
gotcha.
maybe you don't remember. Sadly, I do. And so I will forever think of it that, because even if I was a podcaster and someone said, you want to do this commercial? I'm like, no, I'm good. Because it wasn't like a commercial that just played. It's a commercial that he talked about, you know? It's like, oh, there's some things I won't do for money. And I saw that dude, Abuka. I tell you what, I just want him. Him in the first round. I don't care. I don't care. We'll get some depth in the third and fourth rounds. I would like it. You talked about linebackers today. I should do, man, if we had another, imagine if we had 2 Edgerrin Coopers. Oh, man. That instantly makes our entire defense better. But I tell you what, I'll take that dude from Ohio State, and then we can just figure it out. I wouldn't mind a tight end, too, because if we had another dude that was like, didn't they compare a dude? They compared some guy this year to the guy, Manor or whatever, whoever was I think went to the Raiders. Dude, if we had a guy like that, that would kind of take up some space from the receivers and just make it cool. Anyways, so yeah, if we had 2 receivers that were like Tucker Kraft, that's almost a cheat code, because what do defensive coordinators do? You can't stop 2 receivers and then or 2 tight ends and then the receivers, and then, oh, we got that one guy, Josh Jacobs. He's not bad. I just think it's time to just score 30 points a game. All right?
I'm okay with that.
Jordan, I know you're listening. You know what I'm saying? Jordan Love.
Yes. Yep. He listens off every day.
I don't know what you got to say, but you're the dude. You know, their whole franchise depends on you. Just go up to, Goose, say, bro, give me a receiver, man. And then maybe a tight end, and then we'll just figure out the defense. We'll score 30, 40 points a game, and then it won't really matter, right? So, go Pecco. I can't wait to football. Just amped out right now. So, hey, go Pecco.
Yeah, I get that. I really do. And there's kind of 2 parts. Number one, we all had a lot more fun when, we weren't winning Super Bowls, but we're going to the playoffs and had dominant offenses. I think there was a lot less complaining. Maybe that's for different reasons. I don't know. But still, it was fun. Secondly, there is a component of I kind of trust our defense a little bit. Not even as much the players, but it seems as though we're kind of in a realm where I trust the coaches to get. It seems weird with the defensive line, but in at least with the secondary and linebackers, they're kind of getting the best out of the players, and we hope that the defensive line will follow now that we have a new defensive line coach. But plus, again, how the season ended last year kind of points to that direction. So yeah, let's freaking load up. You know what I mean? Let's just do it.
Yo, Ryan, it's your uncle, Rico.
What's up?
I just wanted to call in and say that I want the Packers to draft Alec Manor.
Yes.
Because he's from Canada,
Yes.
And up north there, it's cold.
Sure.
They got the frozen tundras and stuff. And I think he would be well suited for our environment in the Green Bay area. And then like Tedero McMillan, the guy, he's from Hawaii there. And it's hot and warm and sultry, and that's not Green Bay. So,
mixing it up a little bit.
I think Alec is gonna shine in Green Bay when we draft him.
I love it.
That's all I got to say about that. Rico out.
Get Matthew Golden, and then Alec Manor in the second round. Just double it up, man. Just like what Nico was saying, man. We're just going all in. Just going all in. Back-to-back receivers. How about it? Ain't going to happen, but it would be funny.
I just heard Craig's scouting report for the Packernet podcast. Oh, that's the funniest thing I've heard in a long time. My neighbors are probably wondering why I'm cackling at 10:42 on my balcony. But I don't care what they think, because I'm a boomer, and I don't care what people think what I say. So anyways, hey, go back, go. Thanks, Craig, for giving me a laugh. Peace.
One of the perks of getting older, you just don't freaking care. You know what I mean? Feels good. When you're younger, you say you don't care what people think, but you super do. And then you get older and you say it and you think you mean it, but you're not quite there yet because you still kind of care. And then the older you get, it just, I'm sure in 10 years I'll say the same thing. Like, nah, you still cared a little bit. Trust me. And I don't want to know what 10 years from now looks like when I care even less than this. But it feels good as you get older to just genuinely be like, nah, it's all right. I don't care. I don't care what the freaking neighbors. It was pretty funny because we were in a little bit more of a higher crime area at another time in our lives, and we were like, we need to get out of here, move to a nicer area, and we did. And it's like, I'm not saying I liked living by crime because I didn't, but boy, living in cities, people freaking mind their own business a little bit, and you move out here and everybody thinks that everybody else's business is their business. And so we decided that what we need to do is just, when the time comes, go out and get a bunch of land and put a house right in the middle of it somewhere. But it definitely kind of, over time, you feel how little you care about your neighbors and their stupid freaking opinions about everything. Don't get me wrong, I want to beat some of them with a freaking Louisville slugger. Just insufferable people. I mean, the criminals, these freaking kids that come through, they root through your van, you wake up and your crap is thrown all over. It's annoying. It's really annoying. But your neighbors leave you alone. They don't give it. You don't mow your lawn, nobody cares. Half the people on your street do not mow their lawn. They don't. Cats wandering around, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody's calling the police. Barely call the police when actual crimes happen, because the police show up and go, yeah, nothing we can do about it. We're in a city and there's no, we don't enforce laws here. But yeah, you just feel yourself slowly slipping into what are you going to freaking do about it? You know what I mean? Like, you know what? Just nothing. That's the answer. You're not going to do a damn thing about it. And there's this urge to, I think I know why old people sit out in front and just out in front in the rocking chair. It's just one big giant, I don't give a damn. What are you going to do? Yeah, I'm staring at you as you walk down the street. Say something. I'm going to look at you and judge you as you walk. Then I'm going to mow half my lawn and then just decide I'm done for the day. Maybe for the week. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. People are going to learn to mind your own damn business. We probably should take a break because we're closing in on the end of the calls. We'll be right back.
Hey, Ryan, TJ from Alabama.
Yo.
Getting ready for draft stuff. So one way to, I didn't necessarily want to look at it this way, but it just popped into my head, so I did, of what is something I absolutely do not want in the draft, as far as who picks who. And I don't want the Bears to pick Ashton Genty.
Yes.
I don't want the Packers to pick James Pierce. I don't want the Lions to pick Mike Green, and don't want the Vikings to get Matthew Golden.
Okay.
Genty, I think, is a real dude, and I think he would really help the Bears, so I don't want to see that. I'd like the Bears to muck it up some way, which is more likely than not. And then I could not easily, but Packers take some flyer on James Pierce or something, and then Detroit gets Mike Green, and he turns into be a stud opposite Hutchinson. And then Matthew Golden goes to the Vikings and becomes the receiver we should have taken. I really don't want any of that. So maybe I'll be thinking more on the positive side of how I do want it to shake out. And then two questions for you. The same question, could just slightly different. So regardless of the name, it doesn't matter the name, but if you could guarantee that our first round pick would be a very good player, a 2-contract guy, a couple Pro Bowls, very, very solid player, which position would you prefer that to be in? And then if it was an elite player, somebody's going to, obviously 2-3 contract type of person, few all pros, blah, 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 a really elite player, what position would that be? And I think if it was a good, solid player, I'd probably want an offensive tackle. And if it was going to be an elite player, I would probably go defensive tackle, maybe edge. But I don't know. So I was just curious what you thought. That's it. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, my initial thought when you first said it was for the elite, I'd probably go edge. But now that I think about it, I think, for like a really solid player, edge would work. because we have decent enough players, and we're going to rotate them out and everything. So I think I would go with that, and then trust that you'd have, so this is our number one pass rusher. And you can call it defensive tackle if you want. It doesn't matter. We're talking pass rush here. We're going to have a group of guys that are going to work out, and this is going to be your number one. He's a solid guy. Everybody respects him, whatever. I don't know exactly who you would comp that to, but, he's up there. Elite, I'd probably go wide receiver. Just based on the current construction, we have good receivers. We don't have great receivers. And even if we said, well, this really good receiver would still be the best, fine, but I would rather have a group of really solid pass rushers and then get back to like the Devontae thing. We just thrive on that. We've always had that. We don't have it, and I want it back. And our offense just could really use a boost. I think more so than the defense. The defense could use some tweaks, some improvements, kind of across the board. But offense, it's like, obviously we need Jordan to pick it up. But, assuming we're not saying, listen, if this was a real thing, as much as people might be mad, I might just pick a quarterback. Because if you have an opportunity to get the number one quarterback in football, I'm sorry, but I have to make that move. But let's just rule that out. Obviously, we need Jordan to kind of get back into peak form prior to the injury and all that stuff. Let's get him a freaking absolute alpha stud.
Hey, Ryan. I got some suggestions for your road trip to Green Bay that's upcoming.
Okay.
Whoever's the artist in your family needs to make a poster to hang up in the back of your Astro van that says Green Bay or bust. And the other part of the poster will say, pick a wide receiver in round one, ! But I am really pumped to see that you've got Gootlicker merchandise up. I'm going to do my best to grab a T-shirt. So suggestion I would say is you need to make one and find out what Goody's address is and mail him one before the draft. I mean, you get it to him like today. Mail it to him today so that and put a note in there explaining what it, give context to it and who you are and stuff, and send it to him, because I bet the man will wear it underneath one of his vests. So it's just an idea. I think you got to do it, man. You have got to send him a T-shirt. I think it'll go a long ways to putting you on the map. So here's to you having a good time. And, oh, by the way, I am calling my shot. You're going on day one, and you think you're going to be leaving before Green Bay picks their draft pick. I think you're going to be standing around and you're going to hear, Green Bay has traded to move up. And Green Bay announces their first pick for number 10, and it'll be a wide receiver. And you're going to be there to witness it. And you're going to say, what the heck? And you're going to have to drive back 200 miles an hour to get back home. So just saying it could happen, Ryan. You're going to be there. They're going to do something that they've never done before, and it very well could be that they pick a wide receiver. So, and I'll hang up, and I'm going to call back because I want to reset on something else.
Well, first of all, assuming you are one of the people, so shout out to everybody that did buy the Gootlicker T-shirt. I got some other ones. I want to get them out today because I don't know how long it's going to take to ship. Some of these I'm hoping will get to you in time. I don't know. It says on there what the ship date is, but I don't know how long the shipping is. I might have to explore other options if there's anything that can get the shirts out quicker. But I got a couple of other design options that I like. One of them is for people that are staying home, which I thought was kind of funny. And then we'll see what else is out there. And as far as getting a shirt out to Goot, it's not a terrible idea. Obviously, I'm not going to get his address, but it would be kind of funny to send one off to the Green Bay Packers and just, see if I can be, could you maybe get this to Brian Gutekunst for me? Thank you, bud. See how it goes. I'm just saying. And then as far as seeing the pick, I'll say that so the plan would be to be home by like the first pick. So there wouldn't be any risk of missing really anything. If we miss a couple of the first picks, it's not a big deal, but I definitely want to be there within the range of when the Packers could possibly be trading up, and I just don't want to miss anything. But it is possible that we end up staying. You never know. A lot of times you get somewhere and you're like, yeah, we're all actually having a lot of fun and this is pretty cool. And my son is like, I want to stay to see the pick. And my wife's like, well, we can stay. And it ends up happening. You know, you got to kind of feel it out a little bit. But that isn't my intention. That isn't my plan. And we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that everything kind of goes as expected, because it is going to be super late. I mean, by the time the Packers eventually pick and whatever else, I'm guessing we're all, at least my wife and I, the ones that actually whose vote matters, are going to be on the same page here. But it's not impossible that we end up sticking around, maybe for a pick or something, and then you are getting into that dangerous territory where it's like, well, if we stay for 5 picks, now it's possible that we're going to miss out on da when the Packers trade up, this, that, or the other. But that's why I need to get out of there. You know what I mean? We can't be risking that kind of nonsense. All right, let's get to the next part. Again, if you did buy a t-shirt, much appreciated. I was very happy to see, I think it might have been you on Facebook that was asking where can I buy them, because I forgot to put the stupid link on there like an idiot. But I was thinking of that. I'm like, oh, I bet somebody bought a t-shirt, and I looked and there were quite a few sales. So I was very happy to see that. Garrett, part 2.
Okay, so I'm going to throw out some information for you to digest and talk about for a moment. Green Bay has, in recent years, picked 3 wide receivers in the first round. Their last pick was Javon Walker. I believe like 2005, 2006, somewhere in there.
Wasn't great.
The pick before that was a first-round pick, turned out to be a Hall of Famer, Sterling Sharp.
There you go.
And the pick previous to that turned out to be a Hall of Famer, James Lofton.
Whew.
So 2 out of 3, when Green Bay has picked a wide receiver in the first round, in the last 3 picks, 2 of them have turned out to be Hall of Famers. Now, I know you said, I myself, I agree, this wide receiver group doesn't have anybody that really jumps out at you, but, anything could happen, and we could potentially pick a guy that turns into a Hall of Fame, type receiver. Anything's possible. So just throwing it out there, thought you want to consider that.
Sorry, I got you cut off there a little bit, but yeah, I mean, the Packers' history with wide receiver has actually been pretty remarkable. We talk about their second round acumen, and they've done a really good job in the second round. But then, like you pointed out, 2 out of 3, some of the greatest wide receivers of all time, the Packers have taken. So it's not maybe the greatest wide receiver class, at least it's not expected to be, but that doesn't necessarily mean it won't be. The fact that the Packers have hit on so many second round picks, I mean, what was Devontae's scouting report? Was he going to be the greatest? Was he the next Sterling Sharp or Jordy Nelson or any of the guys that were very valuable for the Green Bay Packers? I mean, you can even look at last year, Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, he was a real big deal, and then by the time the draft rolled around, he wasn't as big of a deal. He started to fall a little bit, and he ended up falling toward the back of the first, and he's phenomenal. And now you got the exact same thing happening with Emeka Egbuka, where, yeah, he's not quite as good as these guys. He's falling a little bit. I mean, who knows? And he's not even the top guy as far as the consensus goes. Put it this way, more than likely, somebody here is going to be pretty fantastic. I don't know who it is, but it's going to be somebody, and I hope the Packers can figure it out.
Ryan, I just have to say that AI version that you made for the draft and your son was purely epic. Only the second song to bring a tear to my eye. Only the song about the cricket was able to do that.
Yes.
I just have a suggestion. You should take video while you're there at the draft and then paste it all together, edit it, and then put that song to it and throw it up on YouTube for Packernet so we can see all the highlights, everything you guys are doing, and your uncomfortable smile being around 200,000 people and shoulder to shoulder and people putting their arms around you that recognize you. And
I don't know about all that.
We just all want to see that look on your face.
Please don't do that, by the way.
And I think that song added to it it'll make a video. I'll watch that video every single day till Kingdom comes. So you got to do it. You just got to do it, man. I'm out.
Yeah, do me a favor. If you do recognize me, which I'm thinking there's a decent chance that I can sneak through there without being noticed. But if you do, don't put your arms around me. All right, let's not do that. If you're a dude, it's weird. If you're a female, you're gonna get me in trouble. So let's just avoid it, okay? But no, it was a good song. It was, and it it might have sort of pushed me over the edge a little bit as far as going to the draft. So, all right, let's take a break. We got Garrett 1265 and beer cheese to close us out.
Oh, and be sure to videotape you and Colin throwing a football there in front of Lambeau, so that the football that you're going to buy me, by the way, make sure you take a video of that.
I can't promise you any of this, but maybe there'll be a picture or two that I'll throw up on social media. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. What else you got, Garrett?
Ryan, I have a draft question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Since the beginning of the evaluation process after the season was over, and you started looking at the 2025 draft prospects, who in your mind has trended the highest in your mind as far as favorable of somebody you would pick that has gone from someone you didn't really favorably look at to someone you really want Green Bay to pick, and who has fallen out of favor the most? So, say, just throwing out someone like Pierce, who at the very beginning, before we started getting all this data, you would have said, okay, I would be okay with him. I'm this high on him. Now it's like maybe he's not even on your board because of the off-the-field issues. So I just wonder, what are your top five on each side, maybe, of who's drastically changed the most in your mind? I'll sit back and listen.
So, Jahdae Barron, who currently right now is consensus pick 14, so he may be kind of getting out of our range here. But there is something appealing about Jahdae Barron for me. I think a lot of it has to do with his work ethic. And then again, my biggest question was the fact that he was kind of pigeonholed into the slot, but he did a really good job. We talked about the PFF, his boundary grade or whatever the case may be, whatever exactly the metric was. He was through the roof, like 99th percentile or something. Going the other direction, I don't know. I wasn't ever really super high on James Pierce to begin with. Harmon, I wasn't ever super big on. Could maybe say Walter Nolan, but I feel like that's mostly just because I haven't really, you watch him and then you really like him and then you just kind of go about your business and kind of forget about it, I guess. Can't even really say Shamar Stewart. I wasn't as really super high on him either. I would have said Matthew Golden because I kind of liked him, and then the man coverage stuff kind of scared me off, but then I kind of got back on the train. Could maybe say Trey Harris, even though I still really like the guy. I think it's maybe been tamped down by what you could call reality, which I don't really want to do. I don't want to, discourage myself from liking the guys that I like, but there is an element of, I think I know how this is going to go. I'm kind of used to having certain predictions that the entire world is looking at going, yeah, we're not seeing anything you're talking about, and usually I end up being wrong on that, but I don't know. I can't really think of too many. If I like them, I like them. But what I do want to do as we really wind this down is to make sure that at every position I at least have a couple guys that are kind of my guys. It doesn't have to be as over the top as I always try to make everything. I need to just go through. I've got a lot of the grades down for a lot of these positions that I gave them, wide receiver and edge, and doesn't look like I put the grades down for defensive tackle, but I did watch them, so I don't know. But that's the fun part. Once we get to the draft, I just want to kind of have some kind of an idea of my opinion on them, and I want to have that group of guys that I'm like, man, I really like that guy. So that's my goal, and then we'll talk about them. Obviously, some of them you guys have gotten to know. So my wide receiver list, I didn't finish, so there's a lot that I didn't get through. But Teteroa McMillan was number one. Alec Manor was actually my number two, tied with Trey Harris. Those are my top 2 guys. But, you know, I want to have some 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round guys, too, that I like.
Hi, Ryan.
Hi.
1265. I just got my Gootlicker shirts ordered.
Yes.
That's right. Me and my cousin coming with Gootlicker t-shirts.
I love that. Thank you.
Woot woot. Hopefully, I didn't pick Rush because, I mean, I'm in New Berlin. You're in Madison.
Okay.
I shouldn't have to pay Rush. It's 2 weeks
I used to live in New Berlin, by the way.
away. So, you know, I know the end of that first window, which is the regular shipping. I know the end of it is the 24th. I'll be gone the 23rd. So, hopefully, I'll get it on the 23rd because I don't leave till that night. All right? I'm just putting that out there. I'm hoping it doesn't take 2 whole weeks to get from Madison to, I know there's more involved in all that. I'm just putting it out there. I can't wait to see you guys. I hope more of you guys buy Gootlicker stuff because that would be a great way to see people. We know who we are, right? All right. Go Pack, go!
Well, first and foremost, I really appreciate you buying those shirts. That's really cool. I don't really get much from them. I feel bad because they've gotten more expensive than even last time when I remember looking at it. I used to make them like $19 and I would get about the same cut. Now it's like, what was it, 25, 29 or something? Felt bad about it, but it just, you know, it's expensive. But more than what I get out of it is just, it's cool that people are participating in it and are going to be walking around the draft with some Packernet gear on and stuff, which I just, I find really cool. It's a fun community type of thing that I really appreciate. So thank you for doing that. Again, I will get a couple other designs out there, try to get them up by today because, again, I don't know how long it's going to take. I know you mentioned you're in New Berlin, but I don't know where they ship from. I'm not doing it from my house. It would get there pretty quick if I was, but I don't have a sublimation machine or something. I used to want to do that when thought that would be super cool to get into like a t-shirt business and get like a t-shirt printing machine or whatever. It was so expensive. I'm glad they were expensive because then I couldn't afford it and start some stupid, idiotic business idea. Although at this point, it might have been worth it now that I have a podcast. But anyways, yeah, I'll definitely have to keep an eye out for you and your cousin with your Gootlicker t-shirts on. Be a good one. Be a good one.
Hey Ryan, Beer Cheese Benny here, listening to Packernet, talking about receivers. You know, here's the thing about that I'm thinking about. Is that, you know, if Packers are really wanting some of these receivers, it seems like they may have to trade up. And here's why this won't happen. Because one, Brian Gutekunst loves his picks. Rightfully so. Mm-hmm. He loves to have as many picks. The more picks you have, the better chance you have at, you know, hitting on guys or whatever. So he's gonna just wait and see if a guy drops to him. Now, if like Golden or Ibuka like drop to him, I mean, I would assume he'd get him maybe. But I also think just with the glaring need at defensive line, that's just not going to happen, and we're going to take one in the second round. And you know, because. Well, why I say that they won't trade up is because if you trade up, you have to give away picks.
Right.
So, you know, that's that. But I see, and I know they don't really draft based on need, the best available. So it could be that the best available is Matthew Golden or Mbuka or, you know, whoever else.
Sure.
But I don't see them not getting a defensive tackle or an edge rusher. I don't know, or even a corner. Like, I don't know. I just don't see it happening. And, you know, like, in the second round, I feel like there's going to be better receivers available, really. Like, if we get Trey Harris or Manor or even if we got Isaiah Bond in, like, the second round or Higgins, like, I'd be happy with any of those guys, really. Another guy is that Tesla guy from Oklahoma. I like him, but I feel like maybe he'd be like a third-round guy. Maybe they go back-to-back second and third, you know, with receiver. I could see that happening. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking like Harmon is our first round pick.
It could be, yeah. It feels like a Packers thing to do for sure.
But that's only because that's what I've been seeing a lot of mocks, and you can't really trust that.
Right.
Because Packers never do what everybody thinks
that's very true.
is going to happen. But anyways, I guess free shout out. If you guys like NASCAR, I have a NASCAR podcast with my buddy that I started last year or 2 years ago. We're kind of just getting going, but it's called Nassholes. And if you could subscribe to our YouTube and follow our Spotify, give us 5 stars, I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, see you. Have a good weekend.
Well, I tell you what, not a lot of people are going to forget the name of your show, so that was very well done. You know, as far as the pick, it's obviously going to come down to who's available, and like with corner, it's tough because I don't know. I mean, it depends where the pack. You know, if they like Maxwell Hairston or Savone Revel or whatever it is, then yeah, that's probably the pick, because there are going to, you know, Azariah Thomas or something. Those guys are probably going to be available, and if they like them, fine. But just based on the consensus board, I mean, you know, Jahdae Barron is going to be gone probably comfortably. I mean, again, just going off consensus board, inside the top 20. And then there's really no value until the second round for corner. And then for edge, I mean, I don't know who's going to be there that they're really going to like. There's probably going to be a decent amount of options when you look at how many there are. And I mean, I should say there are a lot of options, so there's probably going to be someone available, but it's just a question of what do the Packers like. I just have like, for example, Carter, Walker, Shamar Stewart, Mykel Williams, and Mike Green are supposed to be gone before the Packers pick. That leaves, as far as top 32, James Pierce and Donovan Eziraku. And, I mean, I like Nick Scorton, but I don't think that's going to be the pick. James Pierce just doesn't feel right to me that the Packers would go that route. Maybe Eziraku, if I'm saying that right. Eziraku. And the Harmon thing, I mean, I can't be the only one that's freaked out by Harmon. You know, again, just this thing where we all just assume, oh yeah, he's a great pass rusher. Like, I don't know, dude. Guy has 9 sacks in 4 years. Well, kind of 3 years, I guess. He has 90 pressures and 815 attempts. He's never been a good pass rusher up until this past year. And again, even the sacks weren't that great. I mean, it's kind of one big breakout year, and if he's just a stud now, then fine. Yeah, he's great, and it's going to be a great pick and the whole 9 yards. But it just makes me super nervous. And I like Nolan a lot, but I don't know that he checks the boxes well enough. And Grant kind of checks all the athleticism boxes, but I don't know that he puts it on the field as well as you'd like. So I don't know. It's going to depend how it shakes out. I think the problem with receiver is that I think Teteroa McMillan is gone. Matthew Golden, I don't know. He's probably gone shortly before the Packers pick. And then, you know, based on the consensus board, Ibuka and Burden are not even first-round picks. They're second-round picks. So do we think the Packers like them so much that they're going to draft them in the first? Or are they kind of looking at it and saying there's kind of 2 first-round picks, and if we don't get them, then we don't get them? And that's kind of the problem with, you know, saying that, oh, the Packers aren't going to do it because they never do it. And it's like, well, the Packers might not do it, but it's not because of that. It's just, I mean, you tell me. Well, we got to see how it shakes out, I guess. They're obviously doing a lot of homework on wide receivers, first and second round. So there does seem to be a strong consensus that they're looking hard at the position. And in the first 2 rounds, there's some level of expectation that there should be a wide receiver taken. I think the only frustrating thing, and it's a stupid way to think about it because there's no guaranteed level of talent at any given round, but so we've taken a lot of second round swings. It might be a slight exaggeration, but we've taken several, and they've not materialized into what you would hope that it would have been. You could argue that Christian should have been, but he just, you know, he's got the injury issues, and Reed has been kind of phenomenal at times, but it didn't quite fully pan out. And who knows, maybe you get another stud in there, then, you know, it can unlock Jaden Reed a little bit more, and, you know, we'll see what happens when Christian comes back and all that. But who is that guy? You know what I mean? McMillan would make a lot of sense. He's a real nice X receiver. You know, you worry about his speed, but it's like, yeah, but we're not getting him for his speed necessarily, you know? we still need a speed element, and we don't have it until Christian gets back, and maybe we'll address that later on. Maybe we'll get a Ty Felton or Dante Thornton later on to kind of address that need. I don't know, but or you go Matthew Golden, and it kind of hopefully checks both boxes. But I'm not mad if we go second round because I love Io Manor. I love Trey Harris. I wasn't as high, I don't think, on Higgins. I didn't do his grade here, so I'd have to go back and look at exactly how I felt about him. But I know he checks a lot of boxes, big body dude. It's funny, I'm just looking at it now. Cullen's number one receiver is Matthew Golden. Remember, his number one receiver when we got Watson was Christian Watson. So, just saying. I should do a Cullen episode. Maybe we might do that tomorrow since it's Sunday. Or not tomorrow. We'll do for Sunday, whatever. Kind of have his... He didn't finish all the positions, but he is way ahead of me right now. He's got his edge rushers. He's got his corners done. He's a Benjamin Morrison man, apparently. Wow. All right, then. Sometimes I feel, like, intimidated a little bit because I'm watching it, and I'm like, I just don't get it with Benjamin Morrison. And Cullen watches, he's like, oh, no, that dude's a stud. Like, what? What? You saw it? You saw the thing that people are hyped? I don't get it. All right. I guess I'm an idiot. Travis Hunter, number 2 behind Benjamin Morrison. Jade Barron, number 3. And then Will Johnson. Actually, Hunter and Barron are tied at 10, but whatever. That's what I should do is I should make a t-shirt for Cullen where he's like a junior scout or something. It'd be pretty funny. Actually, this is kind of cool. So I just went to the robot and it's whatever, and it says official junior draft scout. And then underneath it says Packernet Scouting Department, Green Bay 2025. That's what I should do is do scouting department shirts. That would be kind of cool for us to all have a... See, this design is coming up right now. Let's see what it looks like. Official Junior Draft Scout. Packernet Scouting Department, Green Bay 2025. That's pretty cool. Scout Cullen, Talent Evaluator, Class of 2038. It's good stuff. All right, I'm going to leave you guys at that. Appreciate all the calls. We're all caught up, so make sure you get your calls in, and I will talk to you when I talk to you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.